Good afternoon, class. Welcome to Introduction to Eastern Religions. In this brief video, I'd like to go over the religions we'll be studying in this course, the countries of origins, and the hermeneutical approach, which is one of the approaches we'll be utilizing in this course. So the religions that we'll be studying, and we'll be studying them in this order, are Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, and then we're going to move to Confucianism and Taoism, then to Shinto, and finally to Sikhism, or the Sikh religion. For the first set of religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism, the country of origins for those three religions are India, and those three religions share a similar dialogue. One point to note is that we will be looking at the religions individually, how they interact with each other early on in their history, those that do, and then how all of the religions later on interact with each other globally. So we'll have initial interaction as well as contemporary global interaction. But Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism do have initial interaction, and they do share what we might call a universe of metaphysical terms. Some of those terms being such as reincarnation, dharma, atman, anatman, karma, terms like these. The next two religions we'll be studying individually, but also in connection to each other, are Confucianism and Taoism. And those two religions have their origin in the country of China. And similarly, those two religions share metaphysical ideas and history. Some of those ideas are things like qi, the Tao, Tian, and others. And they also share the common literature of what is known as the five classics. The next religion we'll be studying is Shinto, and this religion has its origin in the country of Japan, and much of its metaphysical system is unique. But we'll also be discussing how it later interacts with other religions, such as Buddhism. A fascinating concept in this particular religion, and one to continue to learn more about, is that of Kami. And finally, Sikhism, or the Sikh religion. This also has its origin in India. The reason we're going to be studying this last, however, is because it is a rather recent religion in comparison to all the others, meaning it has its origin around the 15th century CE with its founder, Guru Nanak. And this religion also shares a common metaphysical system and dialogue with the other three dharmic religions. Um, but it is quite unique and also is in conversation with many other religions at this time because centuries have passed. So there is many approaches to studying world religions. And we'll be looking at quite a few in this course. Particularly, we're going to be looking at the historical sociological approach. We'll look into some philosophical and psychological approaches, anthropological approaches, um, approaches dealing with language and syncretism. All of these we'll be looking into quite thoroughly. One of the initial favorite approaches of mine is the hermeneutical approach, and I like to define this approach as simply knowing what words mean in their context and knowing what words mean in relation to other words. And this is key in many disciplines, not only religious studies, because a word especially if it's a generalizable word, can take on completely different meanings, even though there is some generality shared. It can take on completely different meanings particular to the context. And oftentimes, when we hear a general word, we imagine a particular thing. We have a particular image in our mind, and we want to make sure when we particularly reading about a variety of different religions as we sort of shift through different paradigms, both in geography and history and different sociological situations, that we gain an accurate understanding of what these words mean in the context. And this again, this concept isn't just restricted to religious studies. A secular example I like to use is the word spaceship, and this is just a general word. And if you hear the word spaceship, there's any number of particular images you might imagine. If And it's unclear initially which one you're imagining when I say that word. However, if I say the word spaceship and then say the word NASA, chances are you'll imagine something like that NASA um, flies or launches into space. Whereas if I say the word spaceship and then I say the word Star Wars, you'll imagine something very different. And that's essentially a very basic definition of hermeneutics. We see how the word spaceship and then the word NASA influence what we imagine when we think of the word spaceship as a general word, and then you imagine something much more particular. And if, for example, um, I said the word spaceship and then I said the word NASA, and you imagine something in Star Wars, you would be misunderstanding the meaning of the word. In a similar sense, we can apply this to religious studies. We take a general word such as priest, right? But And then we take a particular word to complement it. So Brahmin, we'd imagine something particular. Whereas if we said the word priest and then we said the word Eucharist, we'd imagine something quite different. And then if we said the word priest and then you read the word Ark of the Covenant, we'd imagine a very third different thing. And all of this general word priest can apply to all three, but in a very different way, very unique way. Are there some similarities? Yes, but the particularity is what we're stressing. And same thing with monks and nuns. It's a general term, but a Catholic um, monk is quite different from, say, a Buddhist monk. So you want to appreciate the nuances, and this is what the hermeneutical approach teaches us to do. I've included in the first module a PowerPoint called The Variety of Scripture. And this word too, scripture, is another one of these general words that in a different context takes on particular meaning. And so we'll look at a variety of scriptures, and they have a variety of different qualities. And when you hear the word scripture and then have it placed next to a particular religious tradition, whether it be Vedic, Abrahamic, um, um, or others, you want to see if you can catch the nuances. We might ask, well, what is this? What are these particular characteristics of the scripture? Is it supposed to be in its ideal form written down, or is it supposed to be oral? Is it supposed to be spoken? Is it supposed to be sung? Um, is it supposed to have authority? And if so, in what context and in relation to what other scriptures? Um, and all these things are unique to particular traditions, even though they are shared. Some scriptures, for example, have anthropomorphic characteristics. Others seem more like or have more divination qualities, whereas others have more of a what we might call a adaptability. So this is just some examples of how the study of hermeneutics or the hermeneutical approach can apply to the field of religious studies, and we'll be utilizing this approach among others when we look at the different world religions in the scope of our course. So again, I want to welcome you to the course. I hope this brief introductory video was helpful in letting you know what to expect and in what order. And feel free to email me or message me on Canvas if you have any questions. Take care.